No, I didn't do it in this one. Slightly.
Well. It can be not to do. You heard, right, and if you have full sensitive, you can see, right, so this isn't that putting on a stand. You might be sure that you're supposed to with the stand, is even comes in costume. We need to do a little test. Was this like getting my report out?
Back there, so you're right. There you go. Yeah, we need to go over there. That gentleman's writing the music.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It reminds me of what we did here.
What? Oh,
It's a little bit different.
you probably had to prepare a little bit more for this as well.
A little bit more strategic.
We had plenty of this year. Here, this thing. You know.
Eh?
Just left. You had a good patient. You did a minute. Rose. Like working. Nope. Right there. Good in the room.
People get nervous. I guess if you're out of time, like if you
He said it. He said 2 minutes. He just. Okay.
this is hard. I mean,
It's very.
it's really
Yes.
to present all that in 3 minutes is like
Well. Started the competition on Monday with. Dr.
So enter your name, enter the presenter's name.
There was a few.
I do not
Russian-
know this.
There was a couple that like frozen stage and now like that.
Good. Thank you very much.
Several seconds. Only one guy who like. First. Sometimes when people hear public speaking more than death, yeah, it's terrifying. Oh, really?
I think I can enjoy this one. That's what I think it is. And honestly, let's see. So you can imagine being multi-place. Yeah.
The things these students bring up, it's incredible.
Oh, no, right? A really good time this year, so.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
No, you're.
Oh, yeah.
Really. Really good.
We have new ones.
I mean, this is intense. And the best part is, in layman's, I don't know anything about 90% of what they're assessing, but they do it in a way like, okay, I can follow, I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah, when I judged, I used to judge the PSA research day and I would, they'd be talking to me and I'm just, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I
But I guess,
but this, yeah, you can.
but the talent, if you explain it, you're doing it in a way that I can understand, like, all right, well, out of the game.
Yeah. But everybody else is scared.
They will come on.
Yes,
Drop down.
I mean. So, it is not here this week. I mean,
Oh, I liked it.
he said he wasn't. But, and then we will be going in this order. I'll get you another one. Yeah. You wanna test yours, make sure it works? I'll grab you another one. Works, okay, I'll be right back.
Winning $2,500. Nor $1,500.
When did these work? Boy, it's not nothing.
So, again, you don't leave the house, I think. I'm gonna say,
Starts, they want to call the union.
Yeah.
Mess around with the microphone.
Shut it.
we have, since we go into 30 seconds now, so you guys want to leave them? Okay, so what was the conversation? You guys will be able to space. Oh, okay.
It's fun. Well, and you have such big. Goes back some. Have that. I'm learning better like things now. Because I have a story. Getting better. No, I think it's. Like, so this context that is needed. Yeah, all right. Oh, yeah, we live in the house up to start the meet. Welcome everyone. I appreciate everyone being here, so do our contestants. Best of luck to you. I know you're a little nervous, but you're gonna be just fine. I'm gonna have to practice with the microphone here as well. Usually a pretty loud speaker, so in general. This is the championship round for our 8th annual Atlantic Thesis Competition. And for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Cindy Erica, and I am the Speaking Center Director here at Florida Atlantic University. I'm going to do Students Like Shameless Blood. We've been around about 3 years. Many of the departments don't know about us. I'm trying to get the word out the best that I can. And my shameless part is that we actually had 2 contestants, and the other 2 contestants that came to the Speaking Center are here as champions. If I didn't mention a couple of our graduate students that work at the Speaking Center and were MCs for the preliminary rounds. They're here to see it through and cheer on their favorites. So let's talk a little bit about what the 3-minute thesis competition does. It celebrates exciting research and creative activity that's conducted by graduate students all over, but specifically tonight, these are the ones from Florida Atlantic. It was developed by the University of Queensland as an exercise that cultivated academic presentation and research communication skills. The competition supported their capacity to be able to effectively explain their research in 3 minutes in language that's appropriate to non-specialist audiences. For example, instead of saying the dermis was saturated by microtoxins that resulted in Ichthyosis vulgaris, a presenter might say the skin was allergic and ended up with a bad. Far more clear, right? That's what we're looking for. So, moving along, the idea and a little bit of the history of the University of Queensland and the idea of the 3-minute thesis, it came about in a time when the state of Queensland was actually suffering a severe drought, and they were having to use egg timers in their showers to make sure their showers didn't exceed 3 minutes. And so Professor Alan Lawson was like, this is a marvelous idea. I think I'm going to do something like this for my graduate students. And you'll have to shower a number of times. And I thought of my lectures and what I'm going to do with 100% things. Because that's a great time. And it's probably not about 3 minutes of doing it. But he went on to that and he supported that competition and put together in 2008. It was the first 3MT competition held with 160 University of Queensland candidates competing. And of course, the popularity of the competition grew. By 2011, the competition was held in over 900 universities in more than 85 countries worldwide. And of course, the pandemic hit. So 2020 hit, and it changed things and how we operated. Most of our universities had to alter to more virtual settings, and so did the 3-minute thesis. However, we're happy to be here in 2024 at Florida Atlantic University, and we are live in person. So what I'd like to talk about is a little bit of reviewing again what the 3-minute thesis is about for the competitor. So it's limited to 3 minutes, and anyone going over those 3 minutes is disqualified. And the judges will still provide feedback for anyone if they go over the 3 minutes, for your own personal gain. Presentations, unfortunately, are to just be spoken. There's no poem, there's no song, there's no spoken word, there's no costume, there's no prop, and as a theater person, that saddens me. However, you gotta use your words and your stage presence to wow the judges. Presentations, as you were told brief moments ago, they begin right after your first word. So your clock and your timer starts with the first word that you've spoken. We have noted that the gentleman in the back will be raising the 30 seconds, so you have 30 seconds left, and you need to be summing it up and gather your thoughts. All the decisions of the judges are final, and only static slides can be used for the presentation. You know, your presentations over there for all the preliminary rounds. We're in for a really exciting night of speeches. So judges, just as a reminder for yourself, the competition judging criteria. There's two main areas that you're looking for. I want to go over that. First of all, you want to hear and listen for clear explanation of the research concept, ideas, the background, and the motivation of the research. You want to have the contestants need to have the strategy, the design, the results, and their findings clear for you and an understanding in layman's terms for you, as well as their conclusions and their outcomes and the impact of their research, is ultimately what you're looking for. And that is one category that you are judged in on a scale of 1 to 7. 1 being that you have not done it, and 7 being you did it exemplary. Then they go on to judge the second part, which is your delivery or your stage presence. Was the language appropriate? Was it good clarity? Was the visuality of your PowerPoint significant? Did it aid and advance your idea? Did you convey enthusiasm and passion for your research? And did you capture your audience's attention? Again, on that same scale. Those are the two areas that the judges are looking for. And as I said earlier, their decision is final. So tonight, moving on to the next slide, thank you. We have a winner. So we have a lot of information on this slide we don't necessarily need, but the key things that we need to look at is when are they going to win? The winner of our championship tonight receives $2,500. The first runner up is $1,500. The second runner up is $1,000, and your People's Choice winner receives $1,500. It is possible to play to the People's Choice as well as be one of the 3 of contestants. Okay. The first place winner of today's championship will go on to best state trip to the 3 of 2 competition on the Conference of Florida Graduate Schools, where they will represent Florida Atlantic on the national stage. So let's get on to introduce our esteemed judges that are with us today. I'd like to begin with Dr. Eric Shaw, Professor Emeritus of Marketing, an alumni of Florida Atlantic University, where he received his BBA in 1972, with honors, and his MBA in 1973. He has been inducted into several honor societies, Beta Gamma Sigma, Omicron Delta Epsilon, with the Age of the Leadership, and the honor society Phi Alpha Phi, all academic fields, in which he still serves as an executive board. He was the first president of the student chapter of the American Marketing Association, and was also the president of the MBA Association. After receiving his MBA, he became a faculty member as an instructor of marketing, where He earned his PhD at Temple University and taught on the faculties of Rutgers University and the University of Miami. He returned to FAU in 1982 and served as the Associate Dean of the College of Business, acting director of the School of Industry Studies, and for 14 years as the past president of Boca Campus Faculty Senate, the University Faculty Senate, and a former member of the FAU Alumni Association Board, and Foundation Board, and FAU Board of Trustees. Dr. Shaw serves on the editorial review board of several prestigious international academic societies and associations. He serves the marketing committee on a couple of them include the marketing committee of the Palm Beach Development Board and the Bar Grievance Committee of the 15th Judicial Circuit of Palm Beach County. He also serves as the conference director of the 4th World Marketing Congress in Singapore, and he chairs the 11th conference on the historical analysis and research marketing held in Long Beach, California. As you can tell, Dr. Shaw has an extensive history and accolades. He has consulted for a number of Fortune 500 companies, including IBM, Campbell Soup, McGraw-Hill, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. But outside his professional life, Dr. Shaw's career also includes 22 years on the board of Boca Helping Hands, and he was 16 years he held the position of vice president. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention a final thing about Dr. Shaw, is that the champion, the scholarship, and the winner tonight, and the award and everything is all due to his gracious donation. Moving on to Larry Fairman. Larry Fairman serves as the Vice President for Student Affairs at Florida Atlantic University. Prior to his current role, he served as the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, where he really focused and concentrated on removing barriers to student success while maintaining safe and welcoming environments throughout the process of student conduct and conflict resolution. His extensive experiences in the management of student life facilities, including the student union, the campus recreation, and university housing, spans several years and over 30,000 students that he's impacted. Dr. Fairman has a passion for advising student organizations, having served as two-time advisor to the Florida Association of Residence Halls, as well as the Campus Residence Hall Association. As a graduate of FAU in the PhD in leadership, Dr. Fairman holds also a faculty appointment in the Department of Educational Leadership and Research Methodology, where he instructs courses that contribute to the progress towards an MED or a PhD. His passions outside of his professional life are coaching soccer. He is a coach for the SABR, the Soccer Association of Boca Raton. Round of applause for Dr. Our next judge is Audrey Pusey, who received her bachelor's in psychology from Millersville University and has been a certified drug and alcohol counselor for 25 years. She is a proud first-generation alumni of Florida Atlantic, where she earned her master's in educational leadership with a focus in higher education administration. She was a founding national board member of the Association of Recovery in Higher Education and a leading team member in the development of the Guardian Scholars Program, which supports former foster youth on the University of California, Riverside, UCR campus. Prior to her return to Florida Atlantic in May 2017, she served at the UCR campus as the Chief Conduct Officer, where she also worked in various modalities, including residential drug and alcohol treatment facilities, in-home therapy teams, private practice, and K-12 administration and teaching positions. Audrey currently serves as the Dean of Students for Florida Atlantic. In her current position, she chairs the Student Intervention Team and Student Crisis Awareness Committee, oversees all aspects of the Dean of Students Office, including oversight of case management, victim services, respondent services, and the Office of Student Conduct and Conflict Resolution. Dean Pucci also assists the students in resolving conflicts, removing barriers to success, and in finding their own personal avenues to thrive within many facets of their academic and personal endeavors. She is a strong advocate for social mobility, fostering youth and students in recovery. A round of applause for her. Our next esteemed judge is Nikki Kogan. She joined Florida Atlantic as the Assistant Dean and Director of Student Conduct and Conflict Resolution in August of 2023. For the last 17 years, however, she has worked at 4 different institutions across Washington State, Florida, and Georgia within housing and residential life, student conduct, and the Dean of Student Offices. Dr. Nikki has a BA in philosophy from Wittenberg University in Ohio, and an MSPD for College Student Development and Administration from the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. And in December of 2022, Dr. Nikki earned her ED. I've noticed you put Dr. Nikki. I'm Dr. Cindy. Earned her ED in Student Affairs, Leadership from the University of Georgia, with her dissertation in an exploration of current student conduct, educators' knowledge and application of learning outcome and assessment practices within student conduct programs. Her outside passions beyond her academic life, she is actually an active alumni with the sorority Delta Gamma and really supports a lot of the Panhellenic councils and collegiate chapters. Please welcome Dr. Nikki. And last but not least, we have Nikki Caboose. Kind of funny that your name's Caboose and you're last but not least. Anyway, Nikki is Chief Executive Officer of South Florida Tech Hub, one of the largest regional innovation organizations in the United States, focusing on Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, and Martin counties. As a former Palm Beach State attendee, Nikki strives to continue to build South Florida Tech Hub by connecting the community with right resources in order to bring growth to the region, which spotlights us as a place of sustainable and economic and business development. Her interest is she's a soccer mom, or let me get this right, an ultimate team mom. She goes everywhere with the elite in travel soccer. So we have 2 soccer enthusiasts on our panel tonight. That is all of our judges, and hold on just a second. Please round of applause for all of our judges. So this leads us to our first contestant. It is Henry Gerber. Henry, if you can please come to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Henry Gerber. Today I'm excited to share some insight into my study, Healthcare Without Borders, the potential of telehealth in rural populations. In a world where access to healthcare is as complex as the conditions we aim to treat, telehealth promises to resolve these problems for our rural communities and offer hope to these areas. In a rural area, the nearest healthcare facility can be hours away. Telehealth promises to deliver that care directly into our patients' homes. However, what's not yet known is if these rural areas are ready to make the transition to telehealth or if they still prefer a traditional in-person healthcare delivery system. Through a very detailed survey, my research aims to answer a critical question. Are these areas ready to transition to telehealth, or do they still prefer the traditional in-person healthcare method? The results were illuminating. For non-emergent routine consultations, 64.3% of participants prefer telehealth. However, that number drastically changed in regard to specialty care, things like cardiology and ophthalmology. In those cases, 78.6% of participants preferred in-person healthcare delivery. The reasons that participants stated, things like privacy concerns and concerns about the legitimacy of telehealth. The study learned more than just preferences. It taught us about barriers that our rural communities are facing and how we as clinicians need to overcome those. In a world where healthcare is ever developing and ever evolving, we're on the brink of a revolution. Our hospital systems will need to evolve, and not just within the United States, but within the world. A world where a top cardiologist in Europe can provide care to a patient in rural Mexico. Thank you all so much for your time. Have a great evening.
I guess I should start walking up a little sooner. All right, Henry, excellent job. Great stage presence, and you held the mic fabulous. One of my things that I had to work on tonight. But we heard you with great clarity, and your research is very impactful. Judges, we're going to give you a few minutes. For it.
Technical challenges. I've got those circled. Some of my changes. Is it credible?
It should be, yeah, sure. So take your time. Cheers, yeah.
I signed into my RWPA too. It's fine. So. All right. What about doing one?
There's no doubt in my mind that your findings are going to inspire future market research and further discussions in your field. Next, I'd like to bring Nutter up to the stage. My apologies, Brandon is going to be doing investigating the absorption of performance and stability attributes of anime impregnated silica materials for biogas purification.
That was a mouthful, wasn't it? I promise over the next few minutes, you'll understand what this is actually looking at. It's not as complicated as it sounds. So does everybody know what this is on my slide? It's fire. This is a biogas flare. It's burning biogas, probably at a landfill or at a wastewater treatment facility. That's where most of the biogas is generated. Biogas is important for a couple of reasons. One, over half of it is methane, which, as we know, natural gas is methane. People have touted natural gas as a replacement to coal for fossil fuel burning power plants as a transition to a greener grid. Well, right now, most of these facilities are wasting it, and the reason they're doing that is because it's contaminated. Like I said, about half of it is methane, but there's a lot of water vapor, CO2, hydrogen sulfide, siloxane, all sorts of scary sounding chemicals that we don't want in our natural gas. So my research, what it actually is it's developing a filter. Just like you would filter water to get all the junk out of it so that you can drink it, we need to filter these gas streams so that we can get the methane out and have usable, renewable natural gas. And so to do that, there's a group of chemicals called amines. There's tons of them. But what we do is we take these and we mix them with sand or any other porous material because these chemicals like to grab contaminants. They love just gobbling up CO2. They'll nab those hydrogen sulfide particles. And so in the end, when it comes out, you get clean methane. The problem, and the reason this isn't going on already, is that these chemicals, there's so many of them and there's so many different possible adsorbents that we haven't found the ones with the characteristics we need. We need it to selectively take out all the junk, but we also need it to stand up to multiple cycles. We need to be able to reuse these filters so that we can have a sustainable source. So that's where my research came in. I made tons of these samples, ran them through tests to find out which ones would work, which ones wouldn't. And we have identified a material that can be used repeatedly, that's thermally stable, that does take out the selected contaminants. And it's super cheap because it's just a chemical mixed with sand. So that's what the goal of my research is for the future. Let's use this. Let's stop wasting it. Let's stop burning our futures when we could be replacing coal.
Got me with cheap and that's about it. You got me with cheap. Awesome. That sounds great. Really also loved your slide. So now let me get my brain on because apparently it left me for a few minutes the last time. So our next contestant, we'll make sure I get his name pronounced correctly, is, oh, I'm so sorry. 2 minutes for the judges. Take two. So, a lot of talking, cotton off of talking. Excellent job with Mark attendance over. Uh, research and found very fascinating. And like I said, she taught me. I have a little bit more humorous style than most presenters probably. I do a little comedy, so I guess I'm doing a little bit more myself, so don't forget some stuff. So now we've got a Ming Chu, the College of Engineering and Computer Science, a vision system using machine learning to analyze inside autonomous vehicles cabin.
Do you still remember the last time you were driving home after work? Were you entirely focused? Or have you ever lost in thought, even just for a split second? Texting on your phone, adjusting the radio, playing with your hair, applying the makeup, and etc. One moment of distraction can turn your whole life around. Distracted driving is a major cause of traffic accidents. In Florida alone, it caused 48,000 crashes, and it took over 300 lives last year. Nationwide, it's tens of thousands more. It isn't just about our carelessness, it's about how our brains work. Imagine that your car is able to sense you are getting distracted and give you an alert. Our research aims to give AI cars such as sense and perception to detect a wide range of distracted patterns. Texting, calling while driving, and consuming beverages, these may seem like small actions, but they can have disastrous consequences. Last month, we have published a paper on a prestigious journal, the Journal of Big Data, sharing it with other researchers and helping more drivers on the road. Our system has achieved a nearly perfect 99.07% of accuracy on the State Farm detection dataset. However, the real-life driving is infinitely more complex. That is why we are building our own dataset. And we are improving our AI models with this vision transformer to detect more distracting patterns, including yawning and talking with other passengers. Think about it. A car that is able to warn you before you're about to make a mistake, not after the fact. With AI as our daily co-pilot, we are building a future where every drive is a safe one. It isn't just about improving driving, it's about saving lives. Let's make distracted driving a thing of the past. Thank you.
It's definitely something I need in my car. I'm not gonna go into detail of why I need that, but maybe you all can kind of hint, texting, things like that. Maybe I'm gonna be doing while driving. I need that co-pilot. Thank you so much, Fong-Li, an excellent delivery. Judges? So I think we actually give an extra round of applause for following two. We actually each this time. Woohoo! Awesome. Great job. Great job. Next to the stage, our next contestant is Pedro da Costa from the College of Engineering and Computer Science, talking about flavonoids from fruits and vegetables to potential cancer treatment.
Good evening, everybody. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Now, I know all of us have heard that phrase before, either from our parents, from our doctor, or from that fitness guru we follow on Instagram. One day I'll get there. Now, no matter the credo or philosophy, fruits and vegetables are the basis of every major diet there, and for a good reason. Now, what if I told you that aside from being nutritional and flavor powerhouses, within the structure of flavonoids are a family of compounds known as flavonoids that can be the key to unlocking a cure for one of the deadliest conditions out there, cancer. Now, what am I talking about? I'm going to make an analogy now out of Legos, because everybody loves Legos. So your fruits and vegetables are like your full structure. The structure is made out of pieces, and these pieces include our molecules, and they are the flavonoids. Now, they are very interesting because they can either halt or slow down cell growth. If you're not aware, uncontrollable cell growth is what cancer is. It's what leads to tumors. Now, you might be asking, if we know that they can do this, why don't we just pick it up and throw it in the cells? Well, because unfortunately, flavonoids do not really like the cellular environment, which is mostly water. It's like throwing oil in water. So this is where I come in with my research. My research focuses on the transfer methods that we can obtain these flavonoids and transfer them to the tumor, essentially killing. Our lab is focusing on two main strategies to achieving this. One of them is encapsulation, which is like taking your piece or your flavonoid, putting it in a vehicle and transferring to the tumor. The second is actually changing the structure of your flavonoid. It's actually manipulating, which is kind of like taking your little piece and building something else out of it. We have initiated studies on this with our tumor cells, and we're seeing very interesting preliminary results that gives us hope that this can be a very effective treatment in the future. This gives us hope that cancer will one day become a remnant of the past. And we hope that our lab can soon publish these results so that we can build on this up. But until then, I'm gonna leave you guys with one last piece of advice. Eat your fruits and vegetables. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Pedro. I really enjoyed your Lego analogy. It was one of my most interesting things from the preliminaries. I talked about the Lego analogy in my classes. Judges. Right, you're back. And Pedro, I do hope that I see you on the TED Talk and you talk about how you cured cancer with fruits and veggies. So next to the stage, we have Oladiran Oladogun from the College of Engineering and Computer Science with his thesis, the multi-physics simulation of a depth-based multi-fluidic design for malaria diagnosis.
There's a serial killer on the house, right now. There's a serial killer on the house. It's right there on your screen. It's called malaria. Got a name from bad hair. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, called it miasma, meaning bad hair. But malaria is not caused by bad hair. It's caused by a very, very bad parasite. This parasite picks on the most essential part of the human, the red blood cell. Very vulnerable, yet very essential. It feeds on it like eating tacos until it gets it totally destroyed. Releases more of its kind to infect even more red blood cells. So, how deadly is malaria today? According to the Center for Disease Control, CDC, 3.2 billion people are at risk. About 300 million people getting malaria, and about 500,000 deaths every year. So why haven't we stopped malaria? Well, because the parasite is very stubborn. It keeps changing its molecular structure in such a way that medications are not effective against it. Malaria develops resistance to our arsenals of medication every time. And we keep releasing more medications. It keeps developing resistance. But there's one thing we can do, that is detect this parasite early before they can mutate and develop resistance. That's where my research comes in. In my lab, the microfluidic lab, under the supervision of Dr. Seradio, the co-director of Center for Smart Air, we specialize in developing microfluidic devices which can be used for diagnosis or for monitoring diseases. So, my job, find a microfluidic device, design it, and prove that it can actually detect malaria early. And after years of designing and redesigning, there it is. My little knight in microhammer is able to separate the whole blood containing parasitized red blood cell into the red blood cell, the normal red blood cell component, the parasite-infected red blood cells, the white blood cells, and platelets, separating and sorting the whole blood in less than 60 seconds. This device can be integrated into a mobile device, circulated around malaria endemic areas so that malaria can be easily monitored. It's going to be cheap, affordable. It doesn't require expert training for it to be used. Thank you very much.
I would say that Chief caught me again this time, but this one is your knight in micro armor, because tiny things can be mighty. Judges? All right, so all of you, I want to mention that I got an interesting after our preliminary since he's 14. Oh my gosh. Wow. I wish I was as articulate at 14 as you are. Fabulous. Moving on. So, Leandro Arizegayete. With the Dorothy F. Schmidt College of Arts and Letters, forging an alliance for progress, Venezuela, the United States, and the Valiant Oil.
Oil and communism. These are the words that pop into our heads when we observe the current tensions between the United States and Venezuela. This is not only an issue that harms the present, however. The roots of these problems actually date back to the 1960s and the failures of John F. Kennedy's marquee program for Latin America, the Alliance for Progress. The alliance was designed to kickstart economic development and create stable capitalist democracies by providing generous foreign aid. By doing so, Kennedy hoped to prevent the spread of communism in Latin America and isolate the threat to US power posed by the Cuban Revolution. The scholarly consensus is that the alliance failed as it led to the overthrow of democracies and the installation of military dictatorships. However, in the case of Venezuela, historians have argued that the Kennedy administration's policies were actually essential to establishing democratic governance under the leadership of Romulo Betancourt. Historians argue that U.S. support for Betancourt's government was crucial to defeating threats from both right-wing military officers and left-wing guerrilla groups, leading to the first successful democratic transfer of power in Venezuela's history. My thesis re-examines this conclusion. I argue that instead, the Alliance for Progress exacerbated issues at the heart of the Venezuelan state. By conducting research at the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library and in online databases of U.S. government documents, analyzing thousands of records from the State Department, the White House, and the CIA, I showed that the Kennedy administration actually reinforced trade barriers between the United States and Venezuela by strengthening restrictions on foreign oil imports. This posed an existential threat for Betancourt's government, which relied on the proceeds of the oil trade to fund its budget. The alliance then complicated this issue, as Kennedy and Betancourt very publicly forged a partnership to combat communism. It became more and more important for Betancourt to show the Venezuelan people it resulted in equitable trade. This was because his government's stability hinged on its management of the Venezuelan oil industry. Therefore, U.S. and Venezuelan officials collaborated to sell the alliance in a positive light to the Venezuelan public. As a result, though Venezuelan oil's U.S. market share declined precipitously during the 1960s, the Venezuelan state doubled down on its dependence on oil to hold the nation together. And by never breaking this dependence on oil, the Venezuelan people are left to pick up the pieces of the failures of the Alliance for Progress. Thank you.
Very powerful speech. Nice job. Judges. A little bit more on to Aaron. College of Arts and Letters. Synesthesia to seeing music in color over artistic genius.
On a cold winter afternoon in 2004, a man named Daniel Tammet sat at a folding table in front of the Natural History Museum on the Oxford University campus, reciting numbers into a microphone. He'd been speaking since 9 a.m., and already it was after 4 p.m., a length of almost 7 hours, and around him, a crowd of onlookers were gathered in hushed awe. Then, just a little after 5 p.m., he spoke the last digits, and the room erupted in thunderous applause. Daniel had just become a world record holder, having recited the number pi to an astounding 22,000 decimal places. What made this feat even more amazing is the fact that Daniel only started memorizing those numbers 3 months earlier. When he was asked after the fact about how he did it, he was candid about the secret of his success. He said, "Memorizing those numbers felt easy for me, because to me, looking at them felt like looking at a work of art, like the Mona Lisa." What Daniel was actually describing is a phenomenon known as synesthesia. Synesthesia is rare. It affects only 1 in every 2,000 people. But for those who have it, ordinary experiences become extraordinary things. Because synesthetes experience abnormal sensory output in response to ordinary sensory stimuli. For example, many will see colors in their mind when they hear certain words or numbers or listen to musical pitches. Not surprisingly, synesthesia and the arts are inexorably intertwined, and many famous artists have been synesthetic, including the poet Vladimir Nabokov and composers like Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Franz Liszt. Yet the question remains, do synesthetes enjoy an advantage when it comes to the creation of their art? And the answer is surprising, because historically, many synesthetes have struggled to express themselves in their artistic mediums. For example, Franz Liszt once attempted to set an entire painting to music using his synesthesia, and the result was a symphonic poem that was panned by critics and audiences alike. Another composer, Alexander Scriabin, attempted to use his synesthesia to invent a device that projected colored lights onto the stage while his music played. The result was once again an audience that was confused and underwhelmed. But how can this be possible? How can such a meaningful gift not translate into the creation of meaningful art? And the answer lies in the distinct overlap that medical science has shown us exists between synesthesia and another far more prevalent condition, autism spectrum disorder. Many individuals with autism also have synesthesia, and there have been a number of documented clinical similarities demonstrated between autism spectrum disorder and synesthesia as well. And just like individuals with ASD or autism spectrum disorder struggle to express themselves, synesthetes struggle to express themselves as well. My research highlights the connection between these two disorders and demonstrates how individuals can better express themselves. Thank you so much.
We had a synesthete, or how you say it, synesthete? How you say the?
Synesthesia.
No, that is a person that had evolved.
Synesthesia.
I'm very impressed. Synesthete. That's the one. He said that if I had a yellow and orange aura that day. Right? I always thought of myself as more of a purple blue. Judge me. Our next contestant is Kayla Aldis from the Charles P. Schitt College of Science. Why don't you bug it out? Does seasonality drive it?
Day and you walk into Publix to see displays of watermelon, BOGO lemonade. Then you go back in the winter, but now it's a display of pumpkin and apple cider. Now, picture we're a monkey in the forest of Tanzania, Africa. Would you expect to see different things on display based on the season? With the FAU Primatology Lab, I studied the diet of a group of monkeys known as the blue monkey on the left-hand side, the red-tailed monkey on the right, and get this, I studied their hybrids too, which is a rarity in nature. You can see that in the middle. They all belong to a group of primates known as the guanins. Guanins are frugivores, indulging in fruits during the wet season and supplementing with leaves typically in the dry season. But something interesting is happening in Gombe National Park, Tanzania. The Gombe guanins that I study are eating a ton of insects. And I don't mean the occasional beetle, I mean snatching termites out of thin air, cracking open wood shoots to expose ant trails. While it's not unheard of for guanins to consume insects, it doesn't tend to be the most abundant item in their diet. As compared to diets in Kenya and Uganda, the blue and red-tailed monkeys maintain a fruit-dominant diet year-round, with insect eating really only sneaking up a little bit in the dry season when rainfall is minimal. But in Gombe, based on analysis, insects are the primary dietary eater, making up anywhere from 50 to 56% of their total diet, with fruit only making up 30%. So why are they eating out? Well, I hypothesized that our study group is eating a more diverse diet overall during the dry season between May and October when fruit might not be available. Insect consumption rises due to the fruit scarcity, but also because of competition with larger primates. Would you want to go toe-to-toe with chimpanzee? So they're taking a sort of whatever is on display approach. My thesis will answer the question, is seasonality the driving factor in the increased insect eating? I will analyze feeding data taken over a 9-year period, and because it's a long-term study, I'll be able to assess patterns that will arise over the years. Like, are the hybrids eating different things than their parental species? Does temperature influence the insect eating? Because if the Gombe guanins are really shifting to higher insect eating, perhaps they're occupying an ecological niche in response to seasonality and climate change. And the Gombe group is extremely unique as they are a stable and thriving population. Studying them gives us a unique opportunity to witness and document evolution in action. And when you study a group of monkeys that are one of a kind, you get information that's one of a kind. And we can utilize that information to better understand tropical forest ecology, understand adaptations in the wake of our ongoing climate change, and for assessing conservation strategies. And I think that's really important because I think we can all agree that we want to keep these cute little grub eaters around for a long time. Thank you.
I don't know about you guys, but I would not want to go head-to-head, toe-to-toe, whatever you said about chimpanzee. I'm going to pass on that. Hard pass. Judges. All right, let's continue on with our next contestant. College of Science, Charles E. Smith College of Science, or Baba Bachman, documenting song development in the Bachman Sparrow.
Baby bath recently, like really listen. They tend to use repeated syllables and they do their best to mimic the words of the adults around them, but it usually ends up like an incomprehensible language that only mom and dad can understand. Still, as time goes on, those nonsensical syllables develop into recognizable words. How does this change happen? The process is called vocal learning, and it's not unique to humans. For years, linguists have studied songbirds to learn more about vocal learning in other species. They found that, like humans, songbirds learn their vocalizations by mimicking the adults around them. And like humans, they have a sensitive period early in life where they learn the most. Recently, however, scientists have proposed that there might be another similarity. Like humans, songbirds might develop something called syntax. Now, syntax is the organization or structure of vocalizations that gives them meaning. In human language, there's two different levels. The first level is when you take sounds that don't have any meaning on their own, and you combine them to form words. The second level is when you take those words and combine them again to form more complex sentences. It's still unclear to what degree non-human species display syntax. However, some researchers have found that certain species of songbirds have at least some level of syntax in their vocalizations. One of those species is the Bachman sparrows. When they sing, they have over 50 different song types that they tend to randomize, but there's a couple of song types that they like to pair together in these repeated patterns. For my thesis, I want to know the purpose of these repeated patterns and whether or not that's an example of syntax. To do this, I will be conducting what's called a hand-rearing study. I'll be going out to our field site in Jonathan Dickinson State Park. I'll be monitoring breeding pairs and collecting 14 male nestling sparrows, and then I'll be bringing them back to our lab in Davie and exposing them to various songs. And in those songs, I'm going to have preset patterns. And then I'll be monitoring what they sing as adults to see if they learned those particular patterns. The goal of my research is to see if syntax is something that the species learns to better understand how syntax evolves in these other species. And who knows, perhaps my research can also shed some light onto how human language develops from incoherent baby babble to a complex theses delivered in under 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Heather, really enjoyed that as a linguist and somebody that words. Your particular research really appealed to me. Now for the judges.
Break up strings for singing music.
All right, now to our next contestant, Eloise Finley from the College of Education, who proceeds Beyond Survival, a primer of how to thrive in graduate school with mentorship, essential resources, and practical techniques.
Many of you recall freaking out during your first semester of grad school or are freaking out now over your dissertation. You're not alone. PhD students often experience overwhelmness to the point of paralysis. But to quote Zachary Shorman, author of Grad School Essentials, all they really need is mentorship. Wouldn't it be nice if universities provide their PhD students with the support they need to succeed? Well, that is my proposal today. True, universities already provide support through their library, tutoring and counseling services. But those systems alone are not enough. Proactive measures are needed. Yes, students already know how to use self-help resources and they know about mentors. I, however, propose a mandatory pre-course that would provide students with a comprehensive overview of the program, introduce them to innovative resources, and connect them to mentors who will provide the support they need throughout the duration of the program. The first tool is a simple kit of resources such as the National Center for Faculty Development and Diversity, which offers all kinds of support to help students thrive, not just survive, in academia. This kit would also include resources, videos on how to write a literature review, how to find a research gap, and how to prepare for publications. Another tool is access to mentors that will bridge the gap and offer personal guidance throughout the program. My research is focusing on the success rate of students with and without these support. Let's face it, the journey to a PhD is challenging and include numerous obstacles. However, together, we can transform our students from a voyage of disaster to a moment of adventure. Thank you.
Several and many degrees, I can certainly appreciate having a mentor and a mentor program. The impact of your research is. All right, let's move on. Give our judges 2 minutes. For our 11th contestant, David Kaufman from the College of Business, is there a correlation between radiation exposure from mammography and breast cancer? A retrospective analysis of currently available data.
Good evening. Did you ever wonder, is there an association between mammography and breast cancer? Well, I have. And I took a look at the literature. And you know what the research showed? The research is confusing and conflicting. And there's no clear-cut answer, which inspired my research, which is to develop and understand whether there is an association between radiation from mammography and the development of breast cancer. But why is this even an important problem? Well, if you ask the American Cancer Society, they'll tell you. You know what they say? Breast cancer is the #1 cancer in American women, and it kills more women than any other cancer other than lung cancer. They'll also tell us that in 2024, there's going to be 370,000 new cases in the United States. And sadly, 42,000 women are going to die from their disease this year. The magnitude of this problem is overwhelming. Women understand that radiation is dangerous. We've been told that for decades. Women are afraid to get a mammogram because of the fear of developing a radiation-induced breast cancer. But the news is not all so bad. Why? Because research has shown that since 1989, the incidence of breast cancer death has actually gone down. Great news. Why is that? Screening mammography. With mammograms, we find breast cancers when they're young and early, more treatable and curable. However, on the other side of that coin, we also know that the incidence rate of breast cancer in young women is alarmingly going up. Is that? The data shows that because young women have sensitive breast tissue to radiation, they have a higher risk of breast cancer. The same for the cohort of women who have a genetic predisposition, that is the BRCA gene. Their tissue is more sensitive. So cumulative radiation over the years, higher rate of breast cancer. In the future, we're going to study this as we go forward, as we study the other issue and find an answer once and for all. Is radiation associated with breast cancer? As we go forward, future research that I'm going to conduct, I'm going to look at existing screening guidelines and develop one standardization throughout the United States. Right now, screening is conflicting, arbitrary, and confusing, not only to patients, but to physicians. Secondly, I'm going to help develop technology that will eliminate dangerous radiation and help us screen for mammography even better. And finally, thank you very much for your time.
Very interesting research, especially as a female who's gotten mammography since she was 35. That have undergone breast cancer and detected it early. Look forward to your findings, judges.
text them. This is personalized work.
All right, moving along, we've got 3 more to go. All right, deep breaths for the 3 remaining. I'd like to invite Giselle Shim from the Charles E. Smith College of Medicine. Evidence of canals and network potential for amyloid beta drainage out of the brain.
Today's everyone's favorite day of the week, right? It's trash collection day! Well, it might not be the most exciting day of the week, but I think we can all agree that it is very important. Without someone coming around to collect all the disgusting trash that we accumulate throughout the week, then our homes are going to be left inhabitable and we won't be able to use the streets in order to get to work or go get food. So if we think about our brain, it works in the exact same way. So your brain produces waste and there's a filtration system that comes along and removes that waste, and that means that you have a healthy brain. But if something inhibits that filtration system, that means we have an accumulation of waste in our brain, and that's what leads to diseases such as Alzheimer's disease. Currently in the field, there's a debate on what exactly that filtration system is in your brain and on what it looks like. So if we switch gears really quickly to the rest of our body, we do know that the lymphatic system is responsible for draining the waste out of the rest of our body. Therefore, I propose that the filtration system in our brain is highly correlated with the filtration system in the rest of our body. So what did I do exactly? So if we take a look at the images over here, I studied brain scans. And I ran them through different imaging techniques in order to view them. So in the brain scans, we can see these canal-like structures present there. And those canal-like structures are not consistent with current anatomy, size, or shape of arteries and veins that are present in our brain. So that means that those canal-like structures have to be something else. We then took a radioactive tracer. That tracer is going to bind directly to known waste products in the brain. And in those canal-like structures, we're able to see those tracers present. We're also able to see that those tracers accumulate at the base of our neck. And the base of your neck is a common area where waste product from the rest of your body also accumulates. In addition, we took a look at brain scans from diseased patients and from healthy patients. So in the healthy patients, you're clearly able to see those intact canal-like structures. That means that the filtration system is working correctly, and that's why we have a healthy brain. But on the other hand, when we take a look at those diseased brain scans, we no longer see those intact canal-like structures, meaning that that filtration system is not working, meaning we have an accumulation of that waste in our brain, and that means we have that diseased brain. To sum everything up, this gives us a new potential target for brain disease treatment. So, the next time you take the trash out, just remember that your brain is doing the exact same thing to help you out. Thank you.
From the stages and either speak down the steps, up the steps, on the stage. Excellent job, Giselle. Love the analogy of the garbage and the garbage in our brains. Judges.
How's the big furniture? I didn't realize how much space we have. It's much more efficient. Actually, I'm like, oh, I have to back them off actually now. So it's been great. Well needed. I remember when I first came in for my interview, I was in the lobby and I was like, this looks like a dentist office. This has to change. I've worked at state schools before, but something.
Dosani from Dorothy Smith College of Arts and Letters. Activities or literature, identity and resistance.
Been stuck in traffic. Well, yeah, with my mother on the passenger seat. And it became the awkward moment when my favorite rap song came on and she started looking at me, started paying attention if I sing along. So while she was judging me really hard, I told her, Mom, listen, it's not about the word, it's about the content. Because what is it that they're saying in this rap song? They talk about oppression, they talk about resistance, they talk about identity. So back in 2020, we're in the middle of the pandemic, and there's not much to do apart from eating, sleeping, listening to music, and reading books. So what I realized is that the same concept I would hear in those rap songs are the same concept I would read in the literary books of authors such as Yves Césaire, Alphonse Patton. So I decided to make a dissertation to build a bridge between literature and music. So the first task was to look at the metaphor of the sea, so basically the Atlantic Ocean, and look at the sea as a repository of memory and that commonality. Because let's face it, up to this day, Black people all around us still suffer issues of oppression because of the legacy of colonization. So I looked at the ways in which the lyrics of the rap song were anti-colonial, anti-establishment, and anti-racist. The second task was to look at rap as part of the legacy of oral tradition. So basically looking at the lyrics, but also the music and analyze the way in which they mimic literary tradition, but at the same time the way in which they innovate with sound. The third step was to look at modern processes of globalization and the ways in which they help strengthen the link of the diaspora. So my conclusion was that it's like a DJ merging two songs together. Rap is also building the bridge between written literature and oral literature, and because of that, should be considered as part of the legacy of oral tradition and should also be taken seriously within academia. Thank you.
Favorite subjects, music and literature. Excellent job. Judges? I just have those I'd like to bring to the stage Jordan Thompson from the Charles Smith College of Science. My means of serious business, the relationship between political polarization and the
Memes are serious business. Let me tell you why. Memes are units of culture that are spread from person to person. This is the official broad definition of the word meme, but the modern connotation of the word meme is funny pictures and videos that are shared online. Memes can be related to any topic, but today I'm just going to talk about political memes. The current political landscape is interesting, in a word. We're in a heightened state of political polarization. Effective polarization is disdain and animosity toward political outgroup members. I mention polarization because it's related to memes. Have you ever noticed how difficult it is to have a civil, online political discussion? I've noticed this, especially when it comes to memes. And I've also noticed that people either get really excited or really upset about these memes. So I wondered, who are these people? Who are these people who are getting so upset about these memes? Can polarization explain this? This is what I set out to test. I gathered over 100 memes from Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, wherever I could find them, and then I gave them to undergraduates to code them. Then I made a survey. First, I showed participants polarization questions, then I showed them the memes. I asked each participant to rate each meme in terms of meme effectiveness, which has 5 dimensions. How funny is this meme? Would you like this meme on social media? Would you share this meme on social media? Do you agree with this meme? And how offended are you by this meme? You would think that an effective meme should be funny, people should want to like and share it, people should agree with it, and people should not be offended by it. I expected that polarized people would give higher marks to the memes in all of these categories. And this is sort of what I found. Unsurprisingly, people don't like the other party's memes. People do like their own party's memes. Additionally, I found that polarized conservatives rated conservative memes as more effective than less polarized conservatives. The data trended in this direction for liberals, but it was not significant. So what does this mean? Memes are serious business. There is a relationship between polarization and perceptions of memes. This can have consequences for daily interactions and elections. So if we want to do something about polarization in this country, we need to take memes seriously. Thank you.
See any of my Facebook friend posts and mine, or Instagram for that matter. Love the topic. Judges.
Same whole thing. Like whole stage, all of them along the way. You sure? Yep. I think you have to do anything else. I cleared mine. I did survey. The best. It just seems like the last one. I just have to do it.
That concludes our annual reading pieces competition. But in my eyes, all of you all are winners. We're going to be tallying the votes over there in the corner in a minute. But each and one of you placed well in your preliminary round. I followed along. You did an excellent job. You should be so proud of yourselves. We should be proud of our graduate students and the quality that we have here at FAU. So, Ms. Rena, we can flip to my People's Choice screen. So now it's time for, and Elizabeth, judges, and same as all the preliminaries. So now it's time for our People's Choice Award. And this is for you in the audience. So judges, you may also select your favorite People's Choice contestant. You scan the QR code on the screen, select the competitor you feel that should win this. And just as a brief reminder about it, we are looking for background and significance to the research question, what findings were presented and the results, as well as the their conclusions, outcomes, and impact of their research. Again, delivery is a key component, so let's insert the delivery clear, language appropriate for a non-specialist audience. Was the PowerPoint an asset, and did it enhance the presentation? And was the presenter enthusiastic and passionate about their topic? We'll give you a few minutes. Doing good? Cynthia and I am still here today.
Oh, look at the room. Education?
Well, just, we had a good time. It was good times. Yeah. It'll be nice. Knowing it'll work out. All the
It's a little bit of discomfort, but in the long run, it'll be.
we can survive a pandemic, we can do our job.
It's a little inconvenient. I mean, fortunately, it's the summertime and tends to be a little bit so.
Let's see what. We'll make it work. It's what we do. Did you ever do it? It's like it's going.
Because again, previous 3 years as a judge, I shouldn't be judging when they ask me to judge. I think I should be a judge to some people.
You think?
But in the past, we've had 12 judges, so actually nobody was significant. There's no last year.
That's your first year of judge, and I really like it.
Well, I really know there only were 3 out of the judge last year.
Super excited. I think probably responded to this. I'd rather respond to where people responded. Like, I really.
Especially when you don't have results. So you don't tell them.
Thanks. Let's see.
Are you taking a selfie, Larry?
Yeah. Daughter's going to visit, and I wanted to see if she was here with turning around.
I love it. That's amazing. I love it.
No.
Oh, it's sweet. How do you make it? You are
Space is big, but it's space.
It's better than the something and it's gas at the jumping. That's very good. I was just thinking we just it's good. It's not it's nice. It's like so lot because those are is and you hear about different types of approach. Oh, it's so we're gonna announce the winners. But I would like to invite to the stage Dr. Beckman. With everyone else, he is cheat sheet notes here, sorry about that. 15 years as a faculty member and got his PhD at Rutgers University. He's currently the Dean of our graduate college, as I mentioned, and the Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs at Jupiter. And his 16 years were Professor of Neuroscience in the Department of Psychology. And his passion and his outside interests beyond his academia are research in Alzheimer's disease cures. So we are going to begin with the second runner-up. Please give a round of applause for Jordan Thompson. Second runner-up, as a reminder, receives a $1,000 scholarship. Our runner-up is Giselle Shim. As a first runner-up, Now we move to the People's Choice winner. Jordan, I would like for you to come back to the podium. People's Choice winner receives $1,500. Finally, I would like to invite to the stage Dr. Eric Shaw. The Florida Atlantic 3-Minute Thesis Championship Award is generously sponsored through Dr. Shaw Endowment Fund. And the winner of the 8th 3MT at FAU is Kayla Allness.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pictures.
More pictures.
Yes, so sit tight for some photos. So let's have the 3 winners up, please. And we'll pick a round of pictures here. After that, we'll have all the judges. Okay.
One more, please. Thank you.
Please stay up. The remaining judges, please. Just bag yourself by height, group between. They'll really have a alternate Zoom link and give them all the photos. There's your own here.
It's scoot in a little bit, maybe between the 2 banners.
Mm-hmm. Hold on.
Can we scoot over just a little bit?
A little bit more?
We're all friends, we all celebrate.
We're all friends. Thank you.
On stage, this is where we really got to you fall prior.
All people in the back, please.
Yeah, cognizant of heights.
Yep.
Sorry, we're just scoot up, let people come to the back. There's plenty of room, I probably will fall off stage. Aaron, do you want to come around too?
Thank you.
One more, please. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming.